Pull round, there it is. Happy days. We're just getting straight on with it. Right then guys, welcome to another episode of Hooked. My name's John Murray and I'm an angling addict, and today I've come down to the Rising Sun Lakes at Old Walk near York. Going to be doing a little bit of hide fishing, maybe get the odd carp or two out. So I've got a bit of a plan of attack as usual. Going to be basically fishing the short pole with maggot, and we're going to try the little mini feeder rod with a tiny little ICM method feeder, not a method feeder, tiny little ICM maggot feeder, and maybe we'll switch that onto an ICM bomb and try bomb and bread if there's no other carp doing. But yeah, we'll see if we can get an odd one or two of those out, but primarily I'm going to be fishing for hide. So why am I out here today? Well, yesterday I should have been out with the bandits. Storm Arwen struck. I went to start the van in the morning, got all the gear loaded, and the battery was dead. So that was it, I was out basically. Half of the club didn't make it to the match. The weather conditions were so appalling that it was just too dangerous for them to drive the distance down to near Newark, I do believe it is, at Springvale Fisheries. So unfortunately that's an anticlimax to the end of the bandit season, but I don't think it's going to make a great deal of difference to the league standing places. I'll certainly share those with you when I get them available. So following on from the storm yesterday, the conditions today are actually quite good. It's nice and still, the wind's dropped really off, but we've had a lot of snow overnight and the temperatures out here this morning are -4. So basically we're faced with quite a few winter scenes. Snow on the ground. This is the lake I'm going to be fishing. I think this is Lake 3 at Rising Sun, and my gear's just over there, and that's peg 9. So I'm going to get set up shortly and hopefully we'll get a few out. Give you a quick tour of the peg. So number 9, this is the lake, and there is some ice forming on the lakes. So Lake 2, which is on the other side of that tree line over there, basically that's about half frozen over already. So there is a little bit of cat ice on the top of this one, but I think we'll be fine. So as I say, primarily the video is going to be targeting hide, hopefully get the odd carp or two, and I'm going to just go through what those methods are that I'm going to use today. So there'll be a couple of different pole rigs that we'll use. I'll target them on the bottom to start with, cupping a few maggots, and then we'll loose feed maggots over the top either by sprinkle pot or catapult. And yeah, basically tiny little ICM maggot feeder and bomb and bread possibly. Right, remember guys, if you enjoy the videos, give them a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode every time I upload one. Right, that's it. I'm going to get the gear out. Let's get some fishing done. Right guys, so we're set up, and I'm just going to kick the peg off by feeding a couple of 100 maggots onto the pole line. So I've got a couple of 100 maggots on the bottom. We're able to fish on the deck over that. I'll just let them settle for a little bit. We'll start firing a few over the top, but we'll probably start on the bottom and then use the drop through rig to go through. I'll show you those rigs as I go along, but I'm going to kick off on the little ICM maggot feeder. So the rod I'm using today is the MIDI 5GX 9-foot mini feeder. It's a liquid carbon rod. It's got this reinforced area to deal with powerful carp, but the technology actually allows it to be very, very soft on the action, so it should cope with silvers quite nicely as well. It's got a hook retaining ring, a lovely ergonomic reel seat, very, very comfortable, a duplon and cork handle, and it's also got these anti-frap guides which I think help prevent tangles and the line wrapping around the rod blank basically. So the rod is very, very soft in the top part of the blank. It's got the extra power down below. Beautiful piece of kit. I think the RRP for around about £90. Shop around, you may get them cheaper. I've teamed that up just with one of my little Shimano X-size reels. I've got £5 Browning Senex line on there. As I say, I've got one of the Preston ICM mini maggot feeders on. It's got one of these tiny little windows on. So basically you fill it by twisting and opening like that. just onto a clip bead. Because it's on the stem system, you can change this, pull the stem out of these and change them to a bomb, etc. And that can just push in there and act like a little boat rig, but it's still a free running setup. On the business end, I've got 0.11 power line, and that's down to a size 18 barbless carp maggot hook. So I just loaded the feeder, closed the window, double red maggot on the hook. I'll aim roughly for the centre because there's some sunken islands out there, and I'm just going to catapult bait over the pole line. Keep building that up slowly. Hopefully the eye will come on while we're waiting for a bite on the feeder. I'm only going to give this sort of minute chucks to start with. Well, so far nothing on the red maggot, so I'm just going to pop a single white on. I think that water must be very, very cold. Now, one of the reasons I've picked the midi rod today in the 9-foot version is because it's only a short chuck, so it's absolutely perfect just for flicking that bait over towards that sunken island. And just keep some bait going in on the pole line. I'm looking for any signs of anything swirling, but right now there doesn't appear to be much moving around the pond or lake. And if you're wondering how I stay warm in winter, I'll pop a link to a video that I did showing you all the various layers that I've got on today up here. Go and check that one out after this. Right, so far no bites. Which is a little bit concerning on maggot. Just come a bit shorter into the deeper water. So there is a sunken island out towards that middle section. Right, well, so far no bites whatsoever on the maggot, so I'm going to switch over onto the bread, give that a little whirl. So just pop the stem off, remove the feeder, grab one of these little 10-gram bombs and slot that on. Change the hook length out for something a little bit heavier duty, which is 0.17, and basically we've got a hair rig on there with a quick stop so that I can mount some discs of bread onto it. And we'll just have a sling around with that. So 3 discs of bread mounted on the hair. See if we can't find a carp. There's a pull and a bit of a drop back on the tip there. Probably just a liner. Something definitely interesting in the bread. So I'm just sinking the line and putting the tiniest amount of tension into the tip, literally, so it's just off straight. Let's see if we can't get another tug. There's another little bit of a liner. Didn't quite go. Whether these are bream or carp, I'm not sure. Certainly not very active at the moment. Yeah, we'll bring that back. Okay, well, I'm really struggling on the bomb rod, so I'm going to put that down and have a look on the pole lines. If it does warm up a little bit, I'll maybe come back onto it later. So because I haven't seen anything top yet, the first rig I'm going to go out on is 0.4 Drennan Carp 2, and I love these because they're so highly visible on the tips. You've got this banded tip and they're great to read. It's a bulk down positive rig, so we're going to be fishing on the deck. I've got 5 number 8 stots there, a couple of number 8 stots droppers, and then we've got a 6-inch hook length down to a size 18 silverfish barbless match hook. I've got this about 1 inch on the deck, and we're fishing probably about 8 metres out. So we'll go with a single white maggot to start with. We've probably got about 5mm of the yellow bristle showing. So if anything picks those droppers up, those bands will show up. Obviously, if it moves off with it, the float will just sink. Well, I've got to be honest, I've had 10 minutes out there on the float and I have not had a sign. That is a little bit concerning. I mean, the weather has dropped very, very cold, but still thought we'd get a few bites off the hide at least. So I've had a couple of liners, so we know fish are moving around when we've put the bread on the bomb. So I may just go back on that. Right, well, I think the way this session's going, we're going to go back on the bomb and bread, just try for a carp. Or anything. So, at that distance there, I can actually see the sunken islands. The water is so clear today. And I'm right on the edge of that island, just into the deeper water. So if there's going to be a carp anywhere, I would imagine it's searching for cover there. That's yet another drop back there. Should I have hit that? Don't know whether we're going to get a more positive bite than that today. Thought that would have towed round. Well, let's bring it back. Try again. So we're getting some indications on bread. The problem is I'm not sure the carp. May just be skimmers. We'll try again. Well, this is futile. I literally can't buy a bite on the tip now. So I'm probably just going to give it one more go with the pole. If I can't get a fish out, we're going to call it a day. Can't always catch fish. Obviously the conditions today are very, very cold. Thought the sun was going to come out. There's a heron up there. Don't know if we can see it. See if we can catch it on camera. So I'm going to try the pole one more time. If I can't get a bite on that, then I'm going to have to call it a day. Can't always catch fish, unfortunately. That's the reality of fishing. That's why we call it fishing and not catching. So instead of going on the deck rig, I'm just going to use this AS3 0.2 gram float. Very, very light, strung out shots, basically number 10s. A tiny little number 11 dropper. We've got that down to a size 20 silverfish match hook. 0.8 bottom. Just see if anything wants to take through the layers. Stop feeding the line, because it just wasn't getting a bite. So there is a bit of bait down there, maybe something's moved over it. there's a little bit of wind getting up now, and let me tell you, it's freezing. Right, well, maggot ain't working, so I'm going to try a little bit of punch, see if we can catch on that. So a tiny bit of punch on the hook. Right, do you know what, guys, I can't get a bite on the punch either. I know when I'm beat, so it's time to go home, I'm afraid. It's been a very, very short session, but it's absolutely futile. I can't see it getting any better. In fact, it's getting bitterly, bitterly cold now. The wind chill feels probably -5 or 6, just with the bit of breeze that's coming down the lake now. Hands are literally, or fingers are literally dropping off holding the pole. So yeah, there's just no point carrying on. Right, I mean, it happens to the best of us. I hope you enjoyed the video anyway, guys, and at least I've shown you the real side of fishing. I wanted to show you how to catch more fish in the winter, but I think after the storm we had yesterday, the really, really cold snap, probably the first heavy cold snap of the year. We have had a couple of frosts before this, but nothing like this kind of weather. It's just knocked the fish on the head. So we'll have to try again next week. Thanks for watching, guys, and until the next one, tight lines.